Can one of you give me a brief synopsis of Keeper?
Go!
Brilliant!
A little different today.
Yeah, got our first in-studio guest, Baby Arms.
Thank you for having me. This is, what is it, like a fan meet and greet? Like you guys took it to the next level. I don't know how this is gonna sound to people watching, but I love your channel. I've watched you guys like a lot and put you on in the background and rewatched for a year. Thank you very much for having me here.
We're glad to have you here.
You know, we became acquainted through Osgood Perkins himself.
Best thing he ever did was...
Long Legs was getting us together.
Yeah.
So we did a review for Long Legs. You ended up, I think, reaching out to us, asking if you could use a part of our review in a review you were doing. Fantastic breakdown of Long Legs and Perkins himself. What was that, like an hour long?
70 minutes.
Yeah, fantastic. Check his page out, Baby Arms.
Baby Arms.
This is the dude that really takes Perkins to task,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we joke around in our reviews,
Right.
but like this
This
guy
guy
does
gets
the
into it.
research.
As I was making that video, I kind of actually felt bad, and I still kind of do feel bad. I was thinking like, yeah, I'm kind of trashing him as a human being. But to be fair, he does that to people. If you go to check, this isn't the Long Legs video, but I'm matching his energy, I feel like.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
His AMAs and stuff. You did some good research on that and really threw it back in his face, which was great. But
Thank you.
now we're here with his latest, Keeper.
I think she's a keeper.
Yeah, okay, so
where to begin?
I think where we got a lot of shit with Long Legs, very divisive. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it. I think it's probably safer to say that more people didn't like
I do think so.
Keeper than Long Legs.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but the people who really do like it have been defending the hell out of this movie. So I'm really excited to talk about this one.
I have not seen any of the online chatter for this movie. So
Well, mostly like looking at reviews and stuff. 10 out of 10, masterpiece. If you don't like it, you don't understand it.
Of course, it's one of those.
That's one of those
Gotcha.
defenses. This one has a pretty simple plot. At least it starts out that way.
Right.
Couple head off to the woods for their 1-year anniversary.
Secluded cabin.
Cabin in the woods where nothing occurs for about an hour. And then we get some crazy shit at the end. Kind of.
Well, no,
Almost.
we get exposition dump followed by some
Again,
crazy shit.
Again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is very much the Long Legs formula.
But as you had pointed out, Perkins did actually not write this one.
Nick Lepard, who also wrote Dangerous Animals that I have not seen. But, yeah.
So it stars She-Hulk herself. Mm-hmm. I actually thought she was okay in the role. I just didn't like the character at all.
No, her character fucking sucks.
Yeah.
This woman is insufferable.
Yeah, and it starts off right in the beginning where you know exactly who she is. The modern woman who's just dating a guy, yet they never have a conversation in a year about like whether they want kids or not.
She has this vapid conversation with her friend,
Yeah.
and she's like, I don't know if I want to have kids. And it's like, everything that comes out of her mouth, it's like, you are useless. There's like no point in dating you whatsoever.
And then when we meet her other half, they have absolutely no chemistry whatsoever.
No, I hated every time he opened his mouth. I felt like he was trying to do this naturalistic performance where when people really talk, they do a lot of like ums and ehs and I feel like he was very conscious of like making sure he did that to the point that it actually jumped out at me and felt less natural. That might just be me.
That's fair.
It was a whole lot of like, I'm a dick, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, we did one take and moved on.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be like this guy who you think is like okay, but he just comes off as like this super beta dude. Then all of a sudden he like switches, but his character doesn't really change that much in terms of like the delivery. It's just all of a sudden now he's like, no, we're just gonna kill you. And
It's interesting because he kind of plays, you saw the movie Possessor, right?
yeah.
He plays the husband in that movie,
Yeah.
and he's basically the same character.
Yeah, I mean, what made it so weird in this was just that they had absolutely no chemistry. The whole time, you're like, why is she with him, and why does he like her?
What does she like most about him?
I mean, I feel like that is a hard question to answer.
As the movie goes on, you're just waiting for things to start happening, and then you start checking your watch.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like 90 minutes, but it felt like it was 2 hours to me. Like
Yeah.
it felt really long.
there's no like rhyme or reason to what's happening. He gets these endless shots of streams. It just kept cutting back to streams and the river.
Perkins is like the poster boy for A24 horror.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It's
just
funny
like,
that he's with Neon, but yes.
Neon is like the Timu A24,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like that's what it feels like. Just the same kinds of shot compositions, color grading, everything about these movies, just they all feel the exact same.
Yeah, he hasn't graduated to A24 yet.
No. He's in Neon Hell right now. Probably where he belongs.
Yeah, right alongside Shelby Oaks.
Oh, man.
It's so boring. This movie is one of the most boring movies I've seen this year.
It's a slow burn.
Okay. There's slow burn where things are happening and you're like, yeah, it's a slow burn because they're actually building things up. You're still interested even though it's slow.
Yeah.
This is just straight up boring. Like nothing happens for a very long time. There's no burn. It's just this woman with a glass of wine sitting around a cabin for an hour.
She was taking a bath, and then they like semi-transparently superimposed the stream over her face. You didn't think that was cool?
So that scene where she's taking a bath that you brought up earlier in the movie, she like blows on the glass and makes a little hole.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see that happen on the glass behind her, and you're like, okay, yeah, we're starting to get into it now. Some invisible entity is going to start messing with her. And then you never see anything like that again.
Well, not only that, when everything's revealed at the end, and it doesn't really make sense because you're like, wait a minute, these things, they're not ghosts, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're like
They're-
kind of living creatures.
They're witch children.
okay, so
children?
they can turn invisible.
They can
if
do anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
They mimicked her once. She drew a heart, then they drew a heart. Are they learning from her? Are they mocking her?
Well, at some point in the film, Mr. Sutherland has that line where he says, "Don't ask me how, they just can do it," or something.
Yeah, sure.
You're not
Which
going to
is-
be able to open the doors, and is what he said, yeah.
Right, exactly, because doors were like locking and whatever. It doesn't even make sense, but it's like Perkins knew that it wasn't making sense, so they had to just like throw that little line in there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that really helps.
We were just sort of doing it like very playfully and weirdly, and she's very weird.
The guy's cousin, he lives next door, and he's kind of a colorful asshole, and he shows up at one point
This guy is toxic masculinity
Yes.
wrapped up into a person.
personified,
Yeah.
right? And he's got the model girlfriend with him, and they kind of intrude on their evening. So that gives a little moment for the boyfriend to be like, no, we're going to get rid of him. This is just going to be us or whatever. And as she's like climbing on top of him, he's like, whoa, wait, don't you want some of this cake? So he gives her this cake, and she eats a bite of it. Now this is supposed to be something that you find out later that like slows her down. But then for some reason, like she wakes up that night and goes downstairs and just starts shoveling the cake into her mouth like a whore. And I couldn't get past like just the way she was doing it. The boyfriend comes downstairs in the morning and she's just like drawing and just zoned out, and he's like, okay, this is weird. So I gotta leave. I gotta go back to the city. And then he just leaves her in this cabin. More of the same like creepy, not creepy stuff starts to happen.
It gets really weird when the cousin shows up again.
Yeah.
And he wants to come inside, and she lets him inside. And it does the whole, how it happens, it's commenting on the fact that like women have to always be polite and friendly or else the man will get dangerous. If you're rude, people might say something to you. If I'm rude, I might get killed.
Yeah.
So it's always, and I think she says exactly that in She-Hulk, which I haven't watched, but he's like, can I come into my own family's house? She lets him in. He's like, let's have a Scotch party. Scotch. He does something really weird. Like,
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't really want one. And he's like, oh, just one glass. And she's like, sure. And then she goes to the bathroom and locks herself in. But he grabs a carving knife out of a drawer, and it spends a really awkwardly long time showing him like slowly creeping through the house with this knife. There's no like shock, there's no sound, there's no indication like something abruptly happened. It's just quiet mood while he's sneaking around, cuts to her being scared. And then it cuts back to something dragging a body with like a cut neck. The head is dangling by like a flap of skin. And it actually took me a bit to realize that was the cousin. One of the creatures in the house killed the cousin to protect Liz.
Protect the
I guess
woman
that's what it
who
was.
is connected to the woman 200 years ago, yet what this connection is never explained. because they themselves do not know. It's just, oh yeah, she looks like that witch woman who gave birth to these witch children 200 years ago.
That's the problem with this movie, and that's also the problem with Longlegs, is he sets up these sort of like ambiguous horror movies, you know? Yeah. So there's like all these like little nuggets that he gives you here and there in the movie that are not going to end up adding up to anything. But then, you know, an hour into the film, they give you the exposition dump.
Oh, yes.
Right? And then so they kind of explain what's going on. But then once that exposition dump is sort of wrapped up, it's all vague still.
Yes.
Nothing actually gets explained.
No, nothing actually gets explained, but it's weird, like in Longlegs, and I think we even talked about this in our review. It's like the movie kind of just halts so they can just like cram this thing down your throat, but they don't give you everything, or like they don't give you everything that you need to like understand what's going on.
Picture.
Yeah. So then we said this for Longlegs. Like if you're going to do that, explain everything then.
Yeah. Explain nothing.
Yes.
Explain
just
everything.
keep the whole thing vague.
Yeah.
But like a good thriller like this, what you're supposed to do is, as it's going on, you introduce little clues here and there, so you as the audience can somewhat put it together. So when things are revealed at the end, oh yeah, I remember because this, I remember because of that. This movie does none of that. It's just showing you a bunch of random shit, and you're just kind of like, what's going on? And then you're kind of hoping that there is like the exposition dump at the end. It comes, but it still doesn't answer any of the questions you have.
Because the exposition dump gives you like a broad overview of the plot, but it doesn't explain the mechanic. There are supernatural things happening, and they're like, I guess to the writer's credit, fairly original supernatural, like a metal ball in a doll's head. So these need to be explained. You get a broad overview of the plot, but the mechanics of cause and effect are not explained. So you said it perfectly, it's still vague.
Yes.
Yeah. In real life, when things happen, that's a domino effect of things causing other things. And a story is a representation of a little slab of real life. So we need to know like how it's happening.
You can't have this vague movie and then this like juvenile exposition dump, but then like expect to keep it vague afterwards. You just feel jerked around as the audience. Yeah. Especially when you're making something that's about supernatural entities, whatever. Like there are rules at that point, and us as the audience, we're all game for that, but we need to know the rules going in for us to be able to go with it. And if you don't know them, you just give up.
Never give up, never surrender.
Boyfriend comes back, surprised to find her still there, because you find out in this exposition dump that they go to sleep and then he leaves so he doesn't have to actually witness what's happening.
Yeah.
And what's happening is him and his cousin have been around for 200 years, and when they killed this witch and she birthed these children, the children granted them the ability to stay young somehow. They kept bringing them women to like eat.
But they're like not even young though. Like they're like
they're like in their like
they killed her, and now they're like
in their late 40s.
Late 40s.
So when did it happen then?
They're
like
aging a little bit.
Yeah. So
but his picture that you see of him that looked like it was from the 1950s.
He looks the same.
He looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Just minus the beard.
Part of the backstory.
Yeah.
That we didn't get. It's in the notes. Or maybe they didn't think about it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. When it all comes down to it, though, the movie is men bad.
I sent a text to my friends after I saw the movie, and all I did was screenshot the IMDb page and send it to them. And I said, based just on the information in this image, what do you think the theme of this movie is? And my friend said, man bad.
Basically.
I'm shocked.
So her friend was saying she thinks she's a side piece to this like middle-aged guy, like a doctor with a family, and turns out he is deceiving her, but it's for something else. But it's the same. It's it's a metaphor.
Does she not have agency for choosing shitty men? Everything about her is like insufferable. Like it's like, oh, doesn't want children, check. Dumb feminist tattoos, check. Like everything about her, there's nothing unique about her. There's nothing where it's like, oh man, she seems like a really sweet girl.
Well,
like,
she did make that painting.
That's right. She has
an artistic spirit.
Of course, yeah.
That shitty painting that he hung up and he kept simping over like how amazing it was. She was like, really, you like it? I guess he just said what he needed to say to get her there, and he thought she was just going to be lunch for his little creatures, but they just kept toying around with her the whole movie until the reveal that they're actually like helping her and they want her to stay, and she's like the mother that is reincarnate.
I guess.
I mean,
I did some homework after watching it. Watched interviews with Oz and Tatiana Maslany separately and together. And almost everything that you get out of them is their interpretation, because Osgood Perkins talks about this movie, and probably every movie he makes, being produced playfully and loosely with no pressure, and they did it like an ensemble jazz performance.
As the writer was writing, the director was directing, and the other departments were doing their thing. We're sort of developing it like a jazz band, sort of finding it.
A lot of
That's how he describes it.
literally an ensemble jazz. So it's a lot of improvising, and a lot of them literally stating that they figure out things during the shoot. And in some cases, it's like in that scene, based on how she was already sitting, which wasn't planned. He's like, based on how you're sitting, you're slumped on the couch this way. That might be because the cake has actually sedated you a little bit, and we're gonna play with that idea. We don't know if that's the case or not, but let's just play with it. So then they record, and they're like, I like that, so let's go with that. Later in the movie, we find out the cake didn't sedate her, but how they do things, it's like, in each scene, how they shoot things and how they interpret, the logic might only apply to that scene and might not be consistent with the rest of the movie.
I see.
Because it's very much just like, what are we feeling right now?
They take it like a scene by scene.
It's like a painting.
Based
It's
on
like
how they
doing
feel.
this. So Osgood Perkins, Maslany said about, like, is she a reincarnation? What is that? She said she sees it more as like men maybe seeking out a certain archetype of woman who is the right kind of woman, a keeper who fits into an archetype of what a woman should be. And of course that's bad. It's bad for a man to have standards and preferences. That was her interpretation. She's not a reincarnation. She's just like, what's the guy? Malcolm, the bad guy, the man. Just like Malcolm has preferences. Maybe the children also saw her as a similar archetype to their mother, and that's why they were drawn to her. Now that's not fact, that's not canon, but it's as canon as anything else, because they don't know. That's Maslany's interpretation. And I just explained it. That whole rambling thing was about as well as she explained it.
Not the writer.
Yeah.
Or the director.
Well, Oz Perkins always makes sure to say he has an idea for his story, and the way he sees it, his feeling about it is two-dimensional. And then he says, the great thing about having all these super talented people around you, the actresses and people, is like they bring their own interpretations, and they see another side of it that then make his idea of the story that was two-dimensional, three-dimensional, because they see another part. And that's how he wants to tell the story. Like they all think that there's a story there, like in the ether. They're not making it, it's there. And they together are like chipping away at different sides of it and discovering it, this like perfect cosmic spiritual thing that's already there. So Oz sees that as a good thing. I think that people make stories. I think his 2D interpretation is his story. Good job, you made a story. And if someone else tells you it's something else, they're either right or wrong, and they might just be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's your job as the director, is to keep everything coherent, steered in that narrative direction that you're going in.
Which is why my job is easy when people around me are brilliant.
You can't just have your story out in the ether and then everyone's chipping away at it or whatever.
And us too.
It's just gonna stay in the ether at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
That's how you get to the end of that movie and half the ship doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter to them.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
It's just like, well, somewhere in that universe, there's probably an explanation. We don't know what it is.
well, it's more like, that fucking sucked. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, what did you think happened? It doesn't
I don't
fucking
know, I
matter.
didn't write it.
Yeah, I didn't write it.
I didn't direct it.
It doesn't matter what I think happened. I want to be told what happened.
Now,
You don't have to
obviously,
spoon feed it to me.
You can, leave things vague, and then you can kind of,
Yes.
think about that, piece it together. As long as you lay the breadcrumbs in a way that makes sense. But when you scatter the breadcrumbs everywhere, it's like, well, okay, so clearly you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you think I'm supposed to sit down and do your job for you?
They see the stuff they make as like a canvas for other people's ideas, and like that's what art is, and it's beautiful. But
So pretentious.
that can make sense, and like if you're talking about a moral or philosophical question, you put the thing out there. Maybe it's like a movie, a character does something terrible. I don't want to spoil anything about any specific, but a movie where, let's say, like someone makes a hard decision to save his children or something. Afterwards, it's a complicated story. The audience can then talk about, like, was he justified? Was he not justified?
Yeah.
That's cool, and I'm okay with that. But the interpretation they're asking for, like the ideas that we are painting on their canvas they put up for us, are again about the mechanics of what is like literally happening.
Yes.
And that's not okay because they make the skeleton, then we can drape the like thematic skin over it, but we can't supply bones to your skeleton. I feel like in this movie, it's basically saying that the idea of a man sacrificing women to stay young and like keep himself going is the idea of a mediocre man. You can picture a guy who like doesn't have a job that the woman thinks is like up to par. Mediocre man going through multiple relationships and seeming charming. The cake is sweet, like luring them in with something. He does and says things up to a baseline minimum so that she is satisfied and continues to put up with how mediocre he is. And then she pours more work into the relationship than he does, burns herself out. She gives so much of herself because women are always giving so much of themselves, and it's only ever that direction, never the other way. And so. You see the metaphor. Like, man goes through women to keep himself having the lifestyle that he wants.
Yeah, burn and churning.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
I have a question about that. You might not even know the answer to this because obviously you didn't coin the phrase mediocre man or whatever, but is it possible for a man who makes 7 figures to be a mediocre man? What I'm getting at is, like earlier you had said, why is she even attracted to this guy? Like what about their relationship is like appealing to her? Well, the guy's a doctor.
Or he's got money.
He's got money.
Yeah. I think the movie would have benefited, not that I want it to be longer, but if we could have seen some of their relationship in the city or wherever before the cabin and like see their general dynamic, because like you jump in this movie right when they go to the cabin, like they have no chemistry, and part of that I think is just because they have no chemistry, but part of it's that things are kind of starting to not go great for them and like a bunch of weird stuff happens that's irritating her. So from the get-go we see like a bad day for them.
Yes. Yeah.
But it would have helped, I think, if we had seen their normal dynamic to get a feel for why they like each other, and then that adds some stakes for like this is either going to go really well and get better, or maybe something's going to go wrong when they go to the cabin.
Right.
She doesn't like chocolate cake, yet he still forces her to eat it.
Yeah, she's a strong, independent woman. So when she doesn't want to eat the cake, why is she just like, I'm not fucking eating this?
Yeah.
She still goes
And
with it.
it's very awkward.
And it is awkward, and it's also against, we don't know that much about her as a character, but I feel like I knew her well enough to know that she would be like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
It was odd that she went ahead with that.
And he's like, no, just eat it anyway.
He doesn't even really try that much. Like,
Yeah.
there's not that much persuasion on his part. She just does
And
it.
I
He says, it's good. I think he literally says that. Yeah.
And he's so
Oh, well,
awkward.
why
He's
didn't you say so?
He's so obviously awkward.
Yeah, he's so awkward about it. And there was like one moment, actually it was a few moments throughout the film that I actually did like, where every time she was in the kitchen and turned around, she's like, oh God, and there was somebody like sitting there. It was like a different person each time. That was just like a good reaction on her part.
Minka, the Romanian. I did kind of like when the cousin was like, it's one of those aliens. I forget which one it is.
He was kind of great.
Genuinely good job there, Oz Perkins, but or Nick Lepard, I guess, whoever. But Minka, so she's a Romanian model. She has some of the cake. It tastes like shit. So she's had the cake. The cake sedates you so the monsters can eat you. But Minka is not sedated when she's killed by the monsters. She's like fully alert out in the woods the next day.
Well, she also didn't have any cake in that scene where the 4 of them were together at
she
dinner.
had already had
she had
it.
already
She
had
had
it,
eaten
and we
it.
don't know how long ago she had eaten it.
No.
But yeah,
it didn't play into her.
It doesn't.
No,
yeah.
no.
Then it also sounds like those things are kind of confined to the house, maybe. And so now, but it can go outside. Okay, whatever.
Doesn't
fucking
matter.
Yeah.
It's a scary shot in the woods.
Right.
We see 2 Minkas, and one of them is smaller. And
Weird.
it was a very like David Lynchian, like lodge, Twin Peaks type of.
Yeah, like the Red Room.
And that's another thing that came up in the interview with Maslany. The interviewer asked her, like, that scene was so scary. What about that? And Maslany said, Osgood told me there's going to be a Minka over here, and there's going to be a littler one right here. Shoot the scene. Osgood, about the cake, he told her, there's poop in that cake, there are fingers in that cake, there are bones in that cake, there are worms in that cake. And this is one thing that I don't think he meant literally. I think he was telling her that to inform her her performance when she eats the cake, and I guess is meant to seem disgusted. Because otherwise, if it is meant to be taken literally, that didn't come through in the script.
Yeah.
And also, why is there poop in the cake?
Well,
Why?
I don't. So
Tastes like
so there's poop in the cake,
How do you know what that tastes like?
but yet you get all sexual with it later on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what?
Where's that cake? It just looks- and then like the sound it's making when she's digging her
Yeah.
fingers in, like is it like ridiculous over the top sound?
It's like
squishy sound.
It's like the
effects.
Foley of like
Yeah,
messing
yeah.
around with like
Yeah.
body parts and gore.
yeah,
You know,
just
same Foley.
slamming it into her
Yeah.
mouth. Like
You actually see fingers in the cake. I
Yeah, I thought
could
so,
barely
yeah.
make out what they were, but everything I've read after says fingers, so apparently people saw fingers. When the cousin gets his head mostly cut off, and then she eventually just goes out of her hiding place. She goes downstairs to the kitchen. Suddenly, the garbage disposal turns on. It turns on independently of her. There's no one there who turned it on, so she turns it off. And then immediately sticks her hand down it.
Right.
And my friend next to me and the guy on the other side were both like, "Ah, what?"
Yeah.
And she sticks her hand down. But when the garbage disposal's on, it shoots up like a bit of a bone. And then she pulls out the watch that I think is the cousin's watch. So
yeah.
for that very, very brief time the garbage disposal was on, are we meant to assume that the monster crammed an entire human body down the garbage disposal?
That doesn't make sense.
The garbage disposal turned itself on, which is weird enough as it is. She turns it off.
Then puts her
Why
hand
would you
right
stick your hand down it when it just had gone on by itself
Yes.
Yeah.
a second ago? That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So you have like that dumb horror movie shit in this too.
Regarding the title Keeper, obviously after he thinks she's dead, he takes her stuff. I believe he puts her possessions in a box, puts it in his closet where he has all these other, labeled. It's like he's preserving the essence, what he thinks is the essence of all these women that he's used. And later, she goes in the cellar with the creatures, and there's the creature that has the multi-round head face. All the faces that represents all the past women, I think, that he's sacrificed. You see that the original witch lady that was bathing in the exposition dump, he says, we shot her because she was on our dad's property and that wasn't allowed. So I think that might be like a little immigration comment. I don't know. That can be something from the rainbow
No,
scale.
it definitely was.
And
it
they were
definitely
like,
was. Yeah.
They were like excited to shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah.
It's like, look at the defenseless woman.
Because
Well, then he also says, and she was dancing, and that's not allowed.
Yeah.
so it's like anybody who has guns is looking for any excuse to use the guns.
Yes.
So anyway, that original witch, her head is preserved. I think it's her head that's preserved in honey, that the creatures have her head preserved.
Yeah.
And so there are two different types of preservation happening. There's the shallow, materialistic man's way of putting the things in boxes and thinking, I got the woman. Look at all these women I got stacked up. And then there's the more like earthy, natural, spiritual, in tune with, I'm a painter, like feminine woman way of
Correct way.
preserving the true spiritual essence of something. Her head's in honey. And so I guess the implication is that at the end she has like creepy freak monster eyes now.
Yeah.
She is going to start doing this to bad men, maybe? It doesn't matter, but she does it to him and she preserves him and she drowns him in honey.
This moment knows more than we do about what this is.
It's very deep.
The Collider interviews that I watched for Longlegs and also I think 3 of them for Keeper, it's always the same woman interviewing them. She's very, very enthusiastic. I don't really use the term glaze. I just feel like it's used by people younger than me, but that's what she's doing. Like, everything is amazing. Everything was great. I loved everything. I didn't understand it, but I loved it. And just that kind of thing, just over and over and over. She was saying, it's hard to be a baby because Tatiana Maslany is talking about the creatures crawling down the stairs and like there's smoke coming out of one of them. And she says, it's hard to be a baby. And then the interviewer's like, it's hard to be a baby. It's hard to be a woman. Life's hard. And then Maslany's like, that's what the movie's ultimately trying to tell you. Life's hard. It's hard to be a baby. That's what the movie's saying. And now I realize they're joking, like they're not saying the movie's saying that, but the fact, you'd have to watch the whole thing, but just the vibe and the fact that this is what they're talking about and like this, they're basically admitting that this is all like runny shit. Like they're basically admitting that this is all like, and they're just rolling with it and just having a good time and they know this interview doesn't matter and it's not gonna change anything. They're basically saying they don't take this seriously. I'm done.
I'm finished.
I, as the audience member, I'm not going to take this shit seriously either. This movie fucking sucked.
Well, we can get into the ranking portion of the video now.
Yep.
I feel like we're going to be all pretty close. Yeah, I didn't like this film at all. I went 3 out of 10 on this one. I went fucking low because I was bored to tears watching this movie. And not because I didn't fucking understand it. I understood it just fine. It was just shit.
Yeah, I went on 3.5, and that 0.5 is just because I actually thought she was pretty decent in it.
Yeah, she was.
Character is insufferable. She
Yeah.
seems insufferable in
The
real
actor
life, but
from her was great.
Yeah, and like the idea, even if it is like a propaganda piece, which it kind of is, but there is some interesting stuff there. They just did not formulate it well enough to make it coherent, for you to enjoy what was going on. But I guess there's a kernel of promise in there, but it just wasn't realized. So
0.5
that's with that 0.5.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. On the way up here, I was thinking 4. And this discussion has made me wonder if I should go down to a 3.5, but we'll say 4. Let's
that's
go
fair.
ahead and yeah.
On our other scale, we talked about a lot of this already.
How could you not?
I mean, it's just part of what this movie is, what it's about. It's not just, oh, here's a little messaging dropped in here and there. It is the message behind the film.
Yes. They can't hammer you over the head with plot details, but they'll
Yeah,
hammer you
'cause
over
they
the head
don't
with
know
the
them.
thematic ideas.
Yeah, I went 3 out of 5.
Oh, I went 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, shit, you
It would have
all
gotten full rainbow if there was gay shit in it.
Yeah,
but
well,
there's
that's why I
none,
didn't go.
so-
I mean, I would have went up to the 4,
Right.
but
No gay, no trans, no racial stuff.
Exactly. Well, okay, that's true. I'll bring it down to a 4 because there's no racial shit in it.
all right.
Well, there is that maybe the immigration little thing there with the.
True.
Yeah.
4 still seems good for me.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll bring it up to a 3.5 on my end.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I think that feels better.
I was gonna say 3 because I do think it is an anti-man movie. But I will say in all the promotional material, when the people talk about it, that doesn't exactly come through. All the stuff they say they were thinking and exploring when they were shooting these shots, none of that comes through in what they're saying. It was on their minds. It was on someone's mind. But it doesn't seem to be like a, hell yeah, we showed them. We put the truth of the world into this. I think their ideas were equally stupid, the ones they did have, but that's not what they talked about. I don't know if I'm getting too outside of the movie speaking for itself by going to the supplemental stuff that the actors said.
No, I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes that can influence, how a movie does, how it's perceived, because you get actors, directors, they go out, they start running their mouth about
Right.
things that they shouldn't be talking about, and
Right.
it can greatly affect the film. That was quite the discussion about a film that I had very little to say about. I can't wait to see what Osgood is going to do next.
I can't wait to forget about this movie tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Baby Arms, thank you so much for joining us.
This was fun and
Yeah.
different.
Yes.
But a good
very
different.
Yeah.
A good different. Am I a keeper?